If you told me a few years ago that one of the internet's biggest self-love guru would end up in one of social media's messiest relationship saga, I would have probably called you a hater, but here we are. Somehow, every time I open my phone, there's a new episode of the Wizard Liz and Landon saga. Now, don't get this twisted. Landon deserves every single criticism he's currently getting. This guy, according to Liz, studied hard like he was preparing for a final exam. He learned exactly what she wanted. He gave her the dream life, he gave her a ring, he sold her a fairy tale, only to somehow fumble it in the most spectacular way possible.
He was genuinely too good to be true. That's how I would describe him. Like, the past year we were together, he did everything for me. He would take 18-hour flights to come see me. All my bills he paid. Like, all his time he spent with me. Anything I wanted, I did like this, and he bought it for me. He wanted me to get married to him for a green card instead. I refused because he wants to get married so he can come for my money. And he basically went and he got a restraining order against me so that I could not take my child with me.
But Liz isn't exactly helping herself either, because why are we getting relationship updates through Instagram stories and Instagram lives with over 8,000 people watching at once? At this point, their relationship has enough public statements to qualify for a documentary series. And that is what makes this whole thing so fascinating, because this is the wizard Liz herself, the self-love guru, the woman who built an entire career on teaching women about standards, intuition, and how exactly to avoid situations like this. This is the same woman who manifested Landon, and now the entire internet is watching that manifestation turn into a cautionary tale. And to be honest, if this was a manifestation, then the universe clearly misunderstood the assignment. The saddest part is that this isn't just influencer drama anymore. There's now a child caught in the middle of a situation that probably shouldn't be online. So let's talk about how we got here and how one of the internet's biggest relationship success stories slowly but surely turned into its biggest cautionary tale. With that being said, let's dive right into it, shall we? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of The Anatomy of a Mess. I am your host, Kelly. The purpose of this episode is to raise money for nonprofits. I've been pretty vocal about things that are currently going on in Nigeria, and nonprofits will help things get better one way or the other. And that is why I've decided to open my membership. So now you can become a member of this channel, and all proceeds, and I mean all proceeds, goes towards the nonprofits. It can be a different one depending on the episode I am doing, but this particular episode, all proceeds will be going to WARIF. WARIF is a non-profit organization that helps fight against sexual and gender-based violence, and also human trafficking of young girls and women in Nigeria and also Africa. By becoming a member, you're not only supporting this channel, but you're also helping raise funds for people who have found themselves in unfortunate situations. And I am so glad that this non-profit exists, especially in Nigeria. Thank you to everyone who decides to click that button and become a member. I truly appreciate. Now, let's get back into the Wiz Liz and Landon saga. Every time I feel like this story is finally over, something just brings it up one way or the other. Because recently, Landon took to Instagram to accuse Liz of prioritizing another man over her child, which in itself is already a crazy accusation, but he found a way to make it worse by posting his child's face online for millions of strangers to see wherever they are. This was exactly the statement that he posted on his Instagram stories. Going to Asia and posting with your new BF only a month after we break up and 4 days after telling me that you miss me and want to see me, instead of trying to be a good mother, caring for your son, or celebrating his 6-month year birthday. Her 6 months year really is not something to be proud of, lol. I have kept my mouth shut for so long, but honestly, I don't like this portrayal that I'm such a villain, while I've been full-time parenting by myself while this person abandons their child. He deserves better than that. I love him so much and I feel so blessed to be his dad. I'm going to keep doing the best I can for him. I have not spoken on any of this because of threats of extortion and slander, and I really don't want there to be any drama anymore. But I'm just so sick of this false narrative. And to be honest, I really don't understand why Landon decided to post his child's picture to make a point or to address this whole situation, because to be honest, it didn't really change anything. Why did you post your child's picture well knowing that Liz has been pretty open about how she doesn't want her child's picture on the internet? Now imagine this, you are already fighting with your ex and your ex does exactly what you have said publicly that you don't want done. It was seriously at this point that this entire situation turned into the Instagram Olympics, because Liz started posting on her Instagram stories and so did Landon, and before you know, I had already spent over an hour listening and reading different statements from these two people that I've never met before. Now according to Liz, she didn't just leave her child behind because she wanted to. She had to leave the United States because she had visa issues and she needed to renew her documents. And according to her, Landon has made this entire situation a nightmare for her. She went on to state that Landon got a restraining order against her, preventing her to see her child, and at the same time has been playing different mind games on her for no exact reason, just to torture her.
I was supposed to leave the United States before the 18th of May for my visa process, or I would be banned. My house is there, my car is there, my child is there, my whole life is there. So I am literally working with the most expensive lawyers to get my visa and to get back into the United States. Landon knew this, and he knew this all along, but right before I had to leave, he wanted me to get married to him for a green card instead. I refused because he wants to get married so he can come for my money. And he basically went and he got a restraining order against me so that I could not take my child with me.
I want you guys to keep this in mind. She also stated that Landon is trying to spin the entire narrative online. And honestly, I don't know if I'm watching influencer drama or the world's most stressful custody battle I have literally ever seen. Because it seems like every single day there's just new information coming out and it just keeps getting crazier. All this is unfolding online and we are the judge to look at the entire situation and give our opinion. But to be honest, this is somebody's life. This is something that they're living through, not entertainment or drama. Liz also claimed that Landon is broke, which is the complete opposite of how he portrayed himself. According to her, Landon has been asking her for money. First, he asked her for $2,500 and then asked her for $900 to pay for a nanny. According to Liz, this entire situation is frustrating because she's the one that has to pay for literally everything that has to do with the child. In her version of events, she's the one paying for everything. I mean, paying for the lifestyle, funding the child, funding basically everything. Meanwhile, Landon is online liking comments accusing her of using his money to buy a Lamborghini, which is so funny because according to Liz, there isn't even any money to use in the first place.
I have been paying for everything the last year, every single thing. Doesn't even have money to pay dinner. Like, he sold all of his stuff to have money, and now he has nothing more to sell. From the beginning, since my child was born, I have paid for everything. I have receipts to show. This guy has not paid for shit. The only time this person has shown interest in taking care of their child is because I had to leave and he wanted to make sure that I could not take my child. So for the past 3 weeks is the first time in my child's life that this person has decided to take care of the child. This guy comes online and it's funny, he likes comments saying that the house that I was living in or the Lamborghini that I have, that he literally owns it or that he bought it and whatever.
And my favorite part about all this is that when she eventually confronted him, to ask him why he keeps on liking comments like this, accusing her of using his money while it's the other way around, he decided to reply saying that he was frustrated about the entire situation.
I sent him a message. I'm like, why are you lying? And he said, oh, sorry, I was frustrated and I liked it out of frustration.
Sir, disrespectfully, that is not an explanation. That is what somebody says when they accidentally send a text message, not when they are liking comments accusing other people of using their money that does not exist. Let's be for real. Now, while all this is happening, Liz starts revealing more details about their relationship. According to the wizard Liz herself, one of the reasons she fell for Landon was because he seemed perfect. I mean, suspiciously perfect. He paid for things, he bought her gifts, he spoiled her, he treated her amazingly. He always knew what to say and at the same time always knew what to do. In fact, after the cheating scandal happening, Liz took to YouTube to describe Landon as being almost too good to be true. And honestly, looking back now, that might have been the biggest clue that you needed.
He was genuinely too good to be true. That's how I would describe him. Like, the past year we were together, he did everything for me. And I'm not just talking money, I'm talking like time. Like, he would take 18-hour flights to come see me. All my bills he paid. Like, all his time he spent with me. Anything I wanted, I did like this and he bought it for me. Every week I get flowers. Literally a dream guy. Literally a dream guy. And I just would think to myself, this is too good to be true. I would constantly think that he is perfect, does the right things, he does the right things. Yeah, we argue. Yeah, he's very jealous, he's controlling. But those are things that a lot of people deal with in their relationships, It's so weird. And on top of that, he's just literally spending all of his money on me.
When she talks about why she fell for him, a lot of things that she mentions aren't really character traits. She talks about the gifts, the generosity, the lifestyle, the money, and also the grand gestures. It is at this point that you really start to realize that Landon wasn't really selling Liz a relationship. He was basically selling her a dream, giving her the idea that he can take care of her using gifts and money. And Liz completely fell for it. Which is kind of ironic because this is the same woman who built her entire platform on teaching people how not to fall for this illusion. This is the same woman who said she manifested this man. The same woman who even went ahead to create manifestation journals and said that this is the type of journal that she used to manifest Landon. And let's not forget that this is the same woman who presented this relationship as evidence that her advice truly works. And now what is happening? This so-called manifestation is busy filing court cases. This manifestation is allegedly asking for $900. And yes, I understand that this is a horrible joke, but the irony just writes itself. During one of her live streams, Liz explained why she agreed to marry Landon after only 3 months. Yes, you heard that right. 3 months. I want you guys to keep in mind that this is probably the same time it takes for some people to completely finish a Netflix series. I know for a fact that if I decide to watch Naruto, it will probably take me 20 years, but that's besides the point. 3 months. According to Liz, she was already 25 years old and she wanted to settle down. And this is where this entire thing starts to make a lot more sense. Because when somebody desperately wants something, they become easier to sell a fantasy to. I'm going to use an example. Imagine somebody is in dire need of money and there's another person who probably doesn't need money at this point in time. And the third person decides to bring a business idea, which is obviously a pyramid scheme. Now, the first person who is in dire need of money might not see that this is obviously a pyramid scheme, but the second person will be able to tell that it is. And that's exactly the situation that Liz has found herself in because she was so desperate. She was desperate to settle down, and at the same time, she wanted someone who could give her the lifestyle that she wants. And when she saw that Landon was already doing all these things, she fell for it so easily. And that is exactly why we have to talk about Abby because Abby tried to warn her and she did not listen. Now, whenever influencer drama happens, there's always this one person who comes online to say, I told you so. I said it to happen and it did in fact happen. Because at the point where they said it, people didn't really believe them. It happened time and time again. And this is where we have to talk about Abby because Abby posted multiple videos online talking about her dating experience with Landon. And according to Abby, Landon wasn't the sweet, generous, and perfect boyfriend that everybody else was seeing him as. Abby basically described him as obsessive, controlling, manipulative, someone who allegedly wouldn't let go of the relationship even after it ended.
Hi, I'm not really wanting to make this video, but I feel like I'm obligated to. I'm super nervous. I hate being so vulnerable and talking about a past and a partner that has hurt you so much and made you feel so less for an individual that possesses so much hate and so much hurt in his heart to hurt other people physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Like, that's what I said when I got out of this and lived through what I went through with him. And I'm not here to hate on him. I'm here to tell my story because I have a voice and it's been limited for so long because I'm terrified of this man coming back into my life.
And by the way, she didn't just post one video and basically disappear. She posted all the receipts, including screenshots and text messages.
And there's just so much that I want to get off my chest so you know in detail with screenshots because I have every screenshot. I have receipts.
And at that point, nobody really cared. Yes, people were talking about it, but it wasn't really a big deal. Because let's be honest, Abby is still an ex. And you guys already know how people see exes on the internet. They see them as jealous and liars and a hater, especially when they see their ex-boyfriend doing something for his new girlfriend when he didn't do it for her. So a lot of people started seeing Abby through that lens and started calling her a hater and doesn't want Liz to succeed. And keep in mind that Liz already has so many girlfriends. I mean, the kind of fandom that she has built at this point was basically kind of like a cult, for lack of better words. Now, according to Abby, she also tried warning Liz directly by sending her text messages and also calling her. Just imagine this. You have to sit there and watch your ex pull the exact same moves that he did to you on a new woman and you're desperately trying to warn her. And instead of being tanked, you become public enemy number one because that's exactly how the situation turned out. Hello everyone, Editing Kelly here. I somehow forgot to mention that when Abby first came out with her statement or the videos that she posted, she also included the fact that she called Liz and apparently Liz called her back with an unknown number, which is basically a non-caller ID. So since Abby made the video about this, basically talking about the entire situation, I think Liz felt the need to defend herself. But in the process of doing so, she basically indirectly called Abby a prostitute. And this is a clear example of how one thing can basically spoil an entire statement. Because this particular accusation set a lot of people off. It was after this particular statement that people started bringing up Liz's past. And according to some people, they said the first video she actually ever posted on YouTube was how to get rich by using men. But she quickly, apparently, allegedly, by the way, deleted it within 24 hours because of the amount of hate she was receiving. Just know that people are accusing Liz of doing the same thing that she's accusing Abby of doing, which is basically S work or being an escort, allegedly. Now, I will say this, even though Abby was completely correct, there was literally zero chance that Liz would have listened. Because to be quite honest, people don't just leave relationships because an ex-girlfriend told them to, especially when everything seems perfect, when you guys are engaged, when you've already told the entire internet that you found your person through manifestation. Because at this point, listening to Abby would require Liz to admit that maybe she did in fact get it wrong. And to be honest, nobody really likes to do that, especially publicly. It is at this point that things start to get so weird because if you look at what Landon does for Liz, he buys her gifts, he love bombs her, he gets her 750 flowers. You would see that that's the exact same thing that allegedly he also was doing for Abby to win her back. It is almost as if Landon already prepared this particular script beforehand and was very, very ready to use it, hoping that it would in fact work for Liz, and somehow it did work. You see, the thing about manipulation is that the warning signs only make sense after the damage is already done. But this is where the situation with Abby gets even messier. Because according to Abby, Landon didn't really appreciate her speaking about this whole situation publicly. And she also stated that Landon has been pressuring her to take down videos.
I do want to talk about the fact that Landon has found my dad's phone number and my brother's phone number. And then reached out to them and was harassing them over and over all night and all morning, trying to get me to take down my videos. He also reached out to someone that I have a relationship with that I was also in a content house with in Fort Lauderdale, asking her to persuade me to delete the video. And I was even told by her, like, keep it up. Like, I had no idea and everything like that. But I just want this to rest and I want to move on with my life.
By the way, she provided proof for this particular one because Landon kept on leaving comments on her videos telling her to take the videos down, else she would get sued. And eventually, she took them down because most of the videos that are available online are re-uploads. And they aren't really the full thing, they're just some accounts that decided to clip it and then post it again. But the full video is currently not available online. And just when we thought that the situation couldn't get any worse, Liz's sister decided to insert herself into this whole saga. She basically responded publicly by saying that Abby is lying. In the process of her doing this, she also went ahead to deny certain claims and defended Liz.
This call is no caller ID number. She is sharing messages where she's basically implying that my sister saw the messages. She goes on to saying that she recognized my sister's voice because she has a Middle Eastern accent. My sister is not from the Middle East. She doesn't have a Middle Eastern accent. Then our friend is sending that video to her friend. Go and comment that that is not true. When my friend goes and comments that, all her comments get deleted. This video, which to us we thought like nobody was really gonna take this video seriously because, you know, a girl called a girl, whatever. All of a sudden, my sister is getting all these messages saying that she knew that Landon was cheating, saying that she called this ex-girlfriend. First of all, my sister is not the type of person to call an ex-girlfriend. That's not the type of woman she is. We don't go and call girls and check other phones of our partner. She would never do that.
But I would say that one of the most bizarre statements, I mean, when I first heard this, I was like, what? This is so wild. Came from Liz's sister herself. She basically said that Landon and Abby are going to court and may the best liar win. It is really at this point that you start to notice that Abby wasn't really treated as the victim that she is. She was shunned and pushed down for coming out about her story, what she literally faced. And it's at the same point that you really start to realize that there are a lot of contradictions, especially on Liz's side. Let's talk about the Wizard Liz paradox. One thing that makes this entire situation so fascinating is that if it should have happened to anyone else, it would have just been passed on as regular influencer drama. But no, it didn't just happen to anybody, it happened to the Wiz Liz. This is a woman who literally built one of the biggest self-help brands on the internet. And that is exactly why people keep bringing up old clips, because some of those clips aged like milk, literally. I found an old video of Liz and her sister talking about how life has a funny way of testing people and how sometimes the things that you say would never happen to you end up happening to you anyways. And honestly, this would probably be the most accurate things that she's ever said.
My mom would always say, I will never marry. Like everything he had, like he was already married, he was divorced, all these things. Only child. She was like, I was only man. Only man in the house. Yeah. So she was always like, I would never marry a guy who's the only son in the house. I would never marry a guy who is divorced, this and that. And she ended up marrying everything she said. She would never. Yeah, and I just want to say, like, I've seen people say, like, I would never do this. Oh, if I was in their position, I would never do this, that, that. And I swear, the minute you say that, you will, like, God will test you with that same situation. Yeah. He will put you in the same situation. And 9 times out of 10, what you end up doing with that person you're judging did. Yeah. It's always like that. So yeah. You never say you would not do what someone else did or judge someone. Never say never because you get put in that situation. Don't judge people's situation.
If you go back and watch older Weasley's content, there was always this underlying confidence, but not really confidence in a bad way. But what I'm referring to is like confidence that she has figured every single thing out. She sells this idea that if you just raised your standards high enough, if you loved yourself enough, if you knew your worth, you could basically avoid certain situations. And when Landon happened, suddenly the internet had a lot of questions. Because if somebody can allegedly love bomb you, manipulate you, cheat on you, and turn your entire life upside down while appearing perfect on the surface, what does that really say about your advice? And this is the particular conversation that people are now having online. Not because the Weasleys deserves what happened to her, but somehow her relationship has already become part of her brand. To me, I don't think Landon was just her fiancé. I feel like he was the evidence, he was the proof that all the advice that she has been given actually did work. And this brings me to what might be the funniest and also the saddest part of this story. Because while I was watching videos of Liz describing how Landon was to her, the things that he would give her, what he would buy for her, how he's always there, how she can basically just snap her fingers and bizarre, let's just say bizarre, and boom, he has already gotten exactly what she wants. I was like, wait, those are not character traits, those are like benefits, and I mean financial benefits.
Send me $10,000 so I would reply to his message. After that, I gave him another chance. And we started talking. He sent 750 flowers to my house. Then we saw each other. He flew 18 hours to come see me. We had a great time. He was super, super nice. And he started replacing every single jewelry my ex had bought me, but with diamonds. So he didn't want me to wear my ex's jewelry anymore. So he basically bought everything, but like twice the price or like with diamonds. So he bought me an AP diamond watch. He bought me a Cartier fully diamond ring. He bought me like a Van Cleef fully diamond bracelet. This necklace he bought me Cartier earrings, fully diamond. He bought me diamond earrings as well. My ex used to buy me Chanel bags and he said that Chanel was too low for me now. So he bought me 2 Birkins and a Kelly. This is all under a year, by the way.
Let's be honest with ourselves. Anybody can pay bills, anybody can buy gifts, anybody can literally spoil you. That doesn't automatically make somebody a good person. And honestly, I feel like that's the biggest lesson hidden in all this mess. Liz is very vocal about finances, always vocal about how she wants a man to basically take care of her and give her money. But this is not all, because we've not even talked about the cheating scandal yet. I mean, the scandal that basically took a perfect relationship and blew it up to pieces. I want you guys to keep something in mind. According to Liz's version of events, Landon became exactly who she wanted him to be, meaning all the gifts that he gave her, all the spoiling, all the things that she says makes a perfect man or a perfect partner. According to Liz, he basically studied her, he learned everything about her, and then pretended to be the dream man, or what she describes as her dream man. I really don't know what I'm doing. I was supposed to wear red contact lenses because if you don't already get the memo, I am cosplaying Kakeguri. I even have like the mittens. My sister did this for me, and sorry, it is just insanely accurate. I wanted to wear it, but for some reason I didn't have like the right yarn, so I cannot wear it. Anyways, guys, I'm going to talk about this later in the video, but let's get back to what I was saying. Now, if you have somehow missed the entire cheating scandal, a girl basically reached out to Liz, telling her about how Landon reached out to the girl, asking for them to meet up. And when the girl asked him, rightfully asked him, I thought you are engaged to somebody, because at this point, Liz and Landon were already engaged, and guess what? Liz was already pregnant. Landon went on to say that the relationship is just PR. It's a PR relationship. Don't believe anything you see on the internet. I'm only with this girl for PR. Like, I don't really like her. Are you still around? Let's meet. Unfortunately, when this girl told Liz about the entire situation, she quickly took action and she decided to call off the entire marriage, call off everything, and end everything with Landon, which is absolutely amazing. I am so happy for another person. Please end relationships like this because obviously this guy is a narcissist. What do you mean that is a PR relationship when you propose? I literally still remember watching people react to this whole saga unfold on the internet. Not because a man cheated. No, no. Unfortunately, we've already seen this happen like 6 billion times because, they just like to cheat for no reason. But not all men. But the higher percentage, you get what I'm trying to say. People are reacting to this because of who it happened to. Like how the internet or her fans like to say, she's the mother herself, the queen of manifestation who manifested this terrible man into her life. At the point of her making a statement on Instagram, basically announcing that she has already called off everything that has to do with Landon, it really did in fact seem like she was coming from a place of hurt because she's currently carrying somebody's baby and the person is literally planning to meet up with another girl and cheat on her and even denying their entire relationship. For years, people saw Liz as this woman who basically knew all the answers, who was extremely confident. But to see her this way, people really started to sympathize with her because it can literally happen to anybody. And she was extremely vulnerable during this period. One thing you definitely notice in this situation is that everybody eventually reached their breaking point. Abby reached her breaking point, Landon reached his breaking point, even though he probably didn't want that to happen, and Liz eventually reached her breaking point. However, when Liz reached her own breaking point, she started saying things that ultimately changed the tone of the conversation. She spoke about feeling manipulated, she spoke about being deceived, and even at a point, she even argued that she didn't fully consent to this particular relationship, arguing that the relationship was non consensual because she was not in a relationship with Landon, the real Landon. She was in a relationship with a fake person who ultimately tried to deceive her or successfully deceived her by portraying to be somebody that he isn't.
And mind you guys, this guy has played a whole character for a whole year. Like in the beginning, he was paying for all my bills. He was buying me gifts all the time and all these things. And he was such a good guy. But that literally didn't exist. He was faking all of it. Like all of it. He faked everything. And I have to deal with this other person that I never consented to. This relationship was from the beginning non-consensual because you faked your entire personality. I never consented to getting engaged to this person. I don't know who you are. I want to be left alone.
Then in this process, Liz went on to reveal something that genuinely shocked a lot of people. She claimed that Landon had created AI generated explicit photos of her, despite knowing that she is firmly against it.
Repeatedly told him that men make AI, which which he has made of me, and which we had which we had a really big altercation about because I told him how uncomfortable I was with this, and then this guy goes and makes AI of me. I found it on his phone.
This was when the internet literally lost their minds because if there were still certain people that were seeing this as petty influencer drama, it wasn't really anymore. This is absolutely disgusting. This man is so crazy. I think his character is literally so repulsive that whenever I hear any single thing new about him, I'm always like, oh my goodness, please let's not talk about this Landon guy because obviously he's a narcissist. For lack of better words, I will literally call him a nincompoop. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly because honestly, I am perplexed that this man has the literal guts to make AI generated pictures of his ex fiancee. Like, come on, are we being for real right now? And then during the same period, Liz admitted that she physically hit Landon. I mean, she slapped him across the face because she found out that he had AI generated explicit photos of her on his phone.
So yeah, then I just slapped him, and then he called the police on me. So I told him multiple times that men make disgusting AI of women and children, and I don't want my child, his face online because of it. So what you're doing right now, you know what you're doing. You know how disgusting the internet is. You're putting your child's safety at risk because you're fucking mentally ill and you never think about your child. Your child is just a thing to get at me.
At this point, people really, really started to question Liz's brand. For somebody who always made it clear that she's always correct and she has basically lived life, even though she was only 22 years old when she started talking about these particular conversations. But that is besides the point. Some people will leave comments saying that Coach got played Oh my goodness, how can you advise women that they should be very, very careful while approaching men like this, only for you to get played in literally the worst way possible? Now, while all this is happening, another controversy started getting attention on the internet, the Oxford speaking event. What basically happened was that the Oxford Union invited the wizard Liz to come speak, basically like a conference type thing, to come speak in front of people and advise young women because that's what she built her entire brand on. But let's just say Liz didn't deliver the way people expected her to. According to a lot of people, the whole speech that she gave was basically surrounding about how women should make men pay for their loss by collecting all their money. Yes, you heard that right.
When you put together money and you can pay for sexualization that's going to happen regardless, they will be forced to change. They will not want to see women in power, so they will have to do things differently. And for the first time, they will have to deal with the consequences of their current action. Use the patriarchy and get this against them. Make them pay for their loss. Money is power.
It was that bad that she was getting dragged, and even one of the women who was sitting in the front row was just so shocked that her eyes were basically like this throughout the entire conference, throughout when Liz was speaking. And to make this situation way worse, Liz took to her Instagram stories again. This is why I call this the Instagram Olympics. She basically took to her Instagram story to say that the Oxford Union is trying to silence her because they constantly refuse to release the full video of her speech and how it has been over a year and it's not still made public. I just want to say to that, maybe, Liz, let me just take a wide guess. Allegedly, maybe allegedly, they don't want to release the full video of your speech because they know that it will probably get you dragged. One of my favorite moments during this entire saga was when actual lawyers started reacting to this entire situation. You just know a situation has gotten really, really bad when lawyers with actual degrees start to reply. It even got to a point when an actual lawyer had to leave a comment under Liz's video saying, "Some advice from a lawyer: stop discussing your case on social media. It is not helping." Have you ever noticed or wondered why, if two influencers are going through a lawsuit, basically they don't come online to talk about it because they know that it doesn't help their case. It even makes it worse. In one of the live streams, Liz basically admitted that she slapped Landon. Now think about that. Wouldn't that be used against her in the court of law? And that is what brings me to the saddest part about this whole situation: the child that is involved. Yeah, we have two adults who clearly cannot stand each other going at it on the internet. And what I would basically say is one of the biggest and messiest child custody battle, or let's just say internet battle, I've seen in a very long time. I really, really hate that a child is being involved in this. A child is in the middle of this, being displayed online. And like I said, the nincompoop of a father posted his child to even make things entirely worse. Children just need stability. They don't care about this internet drama. They don't care about likes. They don't care about who is famous or who is not famous. A child is literally in the middle of this and people are using it as a gameplay. People are forgetting that this is the main reason they are fighting or they're having this internet debacle. Basically, this child never asked for any of this. He never asked to be put in this particular position. But here we are. Let this be a cautionary tale. The reason people are surprised about this whole situation isn't because Landon cheated. It is because the story directly challenges the fantasy that social media sells to literally everybody. This fantasy is basically everywhere. The fantasy that if you learn enough, manifest enough, journal enough, raise your standards high enough, you will somehow be immune to heartbreak, which is basically not true. That is basically not how life works. Life can happen to anybody. Good people can experience the worst things possible. Bad people can be living their life, enjoying their life, and not even facing repercussions for what they did. Because life isn't just how you plan it, life just happens. And I think this is probably the most valuable advice the wizard Liz has ever taught, not through what she has said or made a video about, but through her life experiences. Because as we already know, this is currently playing out online. We can literally see videos and also statements of them going at it with each other. If this entire situation proves anything, it's that life has a very strange sense of humor, especially when you say things like, "This can never happen to me," because as we already know, anything can happen to anybody. Guys, I was supposed to wear red contact lenses for this video, but whenever I would put it in, it literally burned my eyes. so bad. I was thinking something was wrong, and I almost gave up on this whole cosplay to cosplay as Yumiko. But I think to a certain extent, I was able to perfect, let me say 60% perfect this entire cosplay. I look forward to cosplaying more on this channel. Do take care of yourself, and don't forget you can support this channel and also a lot of non-profits by becoming a member on this channel. That's all for this video, and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. Bye.